My guest at this time is a former ECW TV and tag team champion. He now hosts the podcast Barb Wire Bite. It is Pitbull #1, Gary Wolfe. Gary, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me here today.
It's a pleasure to be on your show, my man. Pleasure.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. So here, before we get to some questions about your career, I'd love to get to know why this new podcast. Why did you feel now was the time to start telling some stories?
I just noticed that there are a lot of people were doing it, and back, I'm going to say, probably early 2000s, I was messing around and doing my own podcast once in a while, just for fun. And it really eventually just got burned out, and I figured, not into it no more. You know what I'm saying? Sure. And then I got approached by a friend of mine who he's into a lot of movies. He does like movie promotions, we'll send him copies of movies and they would ask his opinion of the movies and stuff like that. So he had a pretty big following already, and he was interested in doing a podcast, and he asked me, and you know what? I said, well, let's try it and see what happens this time, because I don't care what I say no more. So,
hey, whatever, man. You got
nothing. Yeah.
So for the podcast, are you telling ECW stories? Are you talking movies? What can fans expect when they turn into Barbed Wire Bite?
Yeah, well, we don't talk. It's not all about wrestling. It's about politics. If you want to talk about politics, if you want to talk about movies, we talk about movies. We talk about the everyday normal things that are. I try to give people my opinion on what's going on in our country or whatever's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm not really sure. Pro wrestling and politics, man, it has really become intertwined here in the past 20 years. I think it started with Jesse, and now I feel like most small towns are run by pro wrestlers at the moment.
Dude, Jesse the Body was the governor of Minnesota. You got, and a SEAL. I mean, come on, man, And then you got like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was an actor, but he was the governor, and he's not even from our country. So Kane, I think, is a mayor or something like that, a councilman or something in Tennessee.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not looking to get into politics. I'm just giving people my opinion on how I feel about some shit. That's all.
When do real quickly, just before we get to some other stuff, when do new episodes get out? Where can people go find this stuff, Gary?
Check out the well, you can just go right on the Graveyard site. It's called Corey has it set up, and then just punch in Barbed Wire Bite, and you'll pop it up. It'll pop up.
Okay, rock and roll. Well, Gary, yeah, man, let's talk a little bit about you. I was really excited to get the chance to speak with you. I went back and talked to my boss, the team. I was like, man, what do we talk to Gary Wolfe about? Well, real quickly here, you broke into the business around 1988, right? I get that right, first of all?
Yeah, we went to the Monster Factory in 1988.
Man, okay, so the Monster Factory is still in existence, but it's under new management. It's very different now than I'm guessing when you were initially trained there, right?
It's a little different.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, it's a little different, but one of the students ended up buying it off of Larry, and he took it over. But I could sit here for 30 minutes and tell you everybody who graduated from the Monster Factory that made it. So,
it's a lot. Yeah.
Bam,
Big Low. There's a lot of names that came out of the Monster Factory. I don't know. Have you been there? Have you talked to Danny Cage? Have you had a chance?
Oh yeah, I talk to Danny every once in a blue moon. If I'm ever in town, I'll go there and teach. I owned 3 of my own schools at one time when I was in ECW.
Okay.
So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, that's awesome to hear. I like Danny, so I'm happy to hear that you guys.
Danny's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Monster Factory still. You think maybe the spirit of the Monster Factory and the training actually preserved, that Danny's doing it the right way with the students and everything at the moment?
Absolutely. Because my schools, I would always do the circle of pain, I called it. So I'd circle these boys up for 45 minutes of cardio, and I just kill them. You know what I mean? I'd walk around with a trash can in my hand, because you can't throw up on my floor, but you can throw up in my trash can. But he's running it pretty tough, and that's what they need to do. They need, I don't know, you see how this business is going now. The storylines are shorter. some guys don't even know psychology, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you keep up with like WWE and AEW at the moment, Gary, or no?
Yeah, I've been. I'll watch WE here and there. I'm very confused about how they're releasing so many people. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I think Vince McMahon may own AEW. That's just my opinion. I mean, why is his guys rolling and they're going right there? I mean, why? Big Show is a big. I mean, I know Paul. I knew Paul before he was a wrestler, so I know Vince loves him. And Mark Henry's another guy. I mean, what's going on? He's getting rid of all the big guys. It don't make any sense.
Okay, so you believe that there's some kind of relationship that is not talked about where Vince McMahon is working with Tony Khan and AEW, right?
I'm starting to think that, yes.
Okay, and does that kind of come from what you observed at ECW and Vince's relationship with ECW, where like WWE talent would sometimes go to ECW or ECW talent back to WWE along those lines?
Yeah, we didn't like back then, we knew we were rocking and rolling and we were giving Vince a run for his money, but then things just started looking different and you know what I mean, stuff wasn't right. And that's when we would start to actually think, what's going on? You know what I mean? Because most of us were like, I was and my partner, we were leaving. I mean, Paul already had our 2-week notice. We were going to WCW.
Okay.
So, I mean, we stayed as long as we could, for ECW. But then when it was getting bad with the checks bouncing and this having and that problem and this problem, that's when we gave them our 2-week notice and said, look, Bischoff and Diamond Dallas Page, Terry Taylor, Raven, and Kevin Sullivan called me all at once in one conference call. And they're like, we want to bring you guys to WCW and you're going against the Steiners and you're getting the belts. And we're like, okay, no problem, got to go.
But that didn't happen though, right?
No, because Vince, not only did he buy ECW, he bought WCW. So I couldn't sign my contract because they froze everything.
Oh.
So Bischoff told me, he's like, if I would have signed you last week, he would have to pay you. He goes, but I can't sign any new talent. No new talent.
Okay. I got it. So this was after your brief 2000 run then, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
That would have been where you because you left ECW in 97, came back in 2000 there, feud with Rhino a little bit if I'm not mistaken. And then I was wondering after that if there was any talks of you going to WWF or WCW, and you're saying there were.
In 98, WWF brought us back up.
Right.
And they had us work the Headbangers, which is another tag team from the Monster Factory.
Right.
And Cornette was, I guess, in charge of it, and he wouldn't let us do our finish. And, I mean, we didn't care, but, I mean, we still had a really good match. And it's not like Vince didn't want to hire us. He wanted to hire us 2 other times, and we said no. So I don't know why he brought us in, and I'm like, you know what, let's see what happens, and once he dissed us, he never called us back, and we got a call to go to Australia. So I moved to Melbourne, Australia, and I was working for King Curtis's buddy and Kevin Sullivan's buddy, Mark Lewin, who ran Hardcore Championship Wrestling out of Australia.
Okay, gotcha. So wait, real quick to flash back here. You said you guys turned down Vince twice to come to work for WWF. Why did you turn down Vince and contracts at WWF?
Vince had us go to South Atlantic Pro Wrestling with George Scott and Paul Jones.
Okay.
So we were there getting prep 6 nights a week. We were wrestling and we were getting ready to go. New Japan saw us, must have got a tape of us. And Tokyo Joe came from Canada all the way to North Carolina to meet us. And next thing you know, New Japan was bringing in the Malenko brothers, the Fantastics, to go against us. And all they were doing was testing us, and we didn't really know it because that's how green we were. I was only making $75 a night. You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha.
Yeah. So before I know it, I got a Tokyo Joe waving a contract in front of my face.
Okay,
Yeah.
this was this would have been like the way early 90s then is what you're talking about then,
This
right?
this is like 89, 90. Because
Right.
I signed my first Japan contract in 1990.
Okay, I thought so. All right, that's what I was getting at. All right, wow, man. Okay, kind of we're the timeline bouncing around a little bit here. I got you. So you turned down those contracts when you were still very green, so you could go to New Japan, and that's something I want to ask you about too. Was like New Japan is still hugely influential, right? Like you have, dude, major promotions vying to work with New Japan at the moment. How was it? Let's flash back here to 1990. What was it like working for New Japan at that time? What was it like to be a gaijin or an American wrestler over there?
It was great because back then money was incredible. I mean, they were paying us; it was ridiculous, and I got to be there with Big Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow, Brian Blair, the Killer Bees, the Wild Samoans, which was Yokozuna and Sammy. We were working against Hase Sasaki. They were putting us against. They would even break us up some nights, and we would do singles. I would do 45 minutes with Lager, no problem. Damn. Easy. 45 minutes, bro. It was brutal. But then, we got to the point that other companies in Japan wanted to start using us. So we ended up working for Wings. We ended up working for Noah. We ended up working for FMW.
Okay.
Which we got really big push in FMW.
Okay. Gotcha.
But New Japan was awesome. I mean, you have to work hard. That's no joke. If you're going to Japan, you're going to work your ass off, and that's all there is to it.